In this tutorial, we will do a first pass design session and creation of our charity database. In one of our previous lessons titled MariaDB and Eclipse 2021 Configuration and Setup, we set up a JDBC connection to MariaDB so that we will be able to access the database from within Eclipse. We will now start to design and populate our charity DB from within Eclipse using SQL Scripts. These are our action item. We will do a high-level design of our database that matches up to our user story. We will then build this database with SQL Script. And finally, we will use the Java Enterprise Edition version 8 to connect, access, and manipulate data in this database. This is our starting template entity relationship database diagram of the charity table and its relationship tables. You see we have the charity table and the two relationship tables, to category and to program. These are the high-level steps we will take. First, we will recreate our application user and charity database. Then we will create the charity table. We will create the charity category table and relationship table. We will create the charity program table and the relationship table. And then we will populate the categories and the programs with SQL Scripts. And of course, we will do this all inside of Eclipse. And we see our project structure. And if we do a git status, we see we are on our main branch. So now we'll switch to a starting branch for creating the database module. And I've already pre-created the git starting branch. Git status show that we are on the starting branch. And now we can start with creating our database project module. We create a new Maven module. And this time, since we're just going to use this project to store the SQL script, we won't use an archetype. We'll just use a simple project structure. And we'll name our module JEE8 MariaDB SQL. And finish. So now we've created an empty MariaDB SQL structure, and this is where we will store our SQL scripts. Now let's create a subdirectory here to store our SQL scripts. And to save time, you won't be seeing me typing in all the scripts. I have typed it in beforehand, and I will just cut and paste it in here. We start with a SQL script to drop and recreate our charity database. We set up our connection profile from the Eclipse data source. We connect to our database connection down here. And we execute selected text. And we see the log down here, drop database, create database, and show databases with the result. So we have dropped and recreated the charity database. Next up, I'm going to copy in the application user SQL script. Now this SQL script is the connection that our application will use to connect to the database. We use the connection that we've connected through before in the data source. We will select the entire script and execute selected text. And we see we dropped the previous one, we created the new user, we selected it, we granted the privileges, and we flushed the privileges. And finally, we showed all the grants. And here we can see in our result output that our JEE8 web app application user has got pretty much all privileges required for accessing the database. And now I will copy in the charity table creation script. We select our connection profile. And we select execute all. This time we see some errors because the index did not exist and the table did not exist, but the creation and index creation ran successfully. So let's try it again. This time we've successfully dropped the index, deleted all the elements from the table, dropped the table, recreated the table, and created the index. And now we'll move on to the category table. We'll start by just dropping and recreating the table. This looks good. Now we'll copy in the charity category relationship table. Now we've created the charity category relationship table, and we've also created the two foreign keys to our charity table and to our category table. Now we'll populate our category table. So now our category table has been populated, as well as our charity category relationship table. So let's test our scripts. And here is all our categories. And we see our relationship table is currently empty. And the reason for that is that our charity table is currently empty. And now we are ready for the charity program table. We see the charity program does not yet exist. So let's run it without creating the foreign key. That looks good. Now for the relationship table. We've created the relationship table. Let's run it again to make sure. That looks good. And now for populating or inserting the data into the programs table. And let's test this. And this looks good. That means our charity table and relationship tables has now been set up. And that concludes this tutorial. I will see you in the next one.